Welcome back, friends, to Walk the Walk. Moving abroad isn't just for the rich or the young. Normal people are doing it every day, and you can also. If you enjoy these videos, please take a moment to like and subscribe. And let's begin. So you're thinking about leaving or considering to leave the UK. Let's have a look at a few first steps which you may like to consider. Right, so you watched the previous video. Maybe you're sat there now thinking, yeah, he's got a point. This country is doing my head in. I actually want to try this. But then the next thought creeps in. How do I even begin with this? Where do I even start? That's what this video is about. No fluff, no follow your dreams nonsense without a map. Just the practical first steps to get yourself out of the UK and into somewhere that doesn't make you want to scream into a pillow every time you check your energy bill. Because here's the thing, most people never leave not because they can't, but because they don't know where to begin. It feels massive, overwhelming, like trying to assemble IKEA furniture with half the screws missing and instructions in Swedish. So let's break it down into bite-sized chunks that won't make your brain melt. Step 1. Get your money sorted, but not in the way you think. First up, let's talk cash. And before you switch off thinking you need 10 grand saved, you don't. Honestly, you don't need anywhere near as much as you think, but you do need some runway, and you need to be smart about it. Start by working out your bare minimum monthly costs right now in the UK. Rent, bills, food, travel, the stuff you can't dodge. Write it down. Now here's the good news. In most places in South America, you can live comfortably on half of that, sometimes less. So if you're spending, let's say, $1,500 a month just to survive in the UK, you could be living pretty well on £800 to £1,000 out here. Your goal, save 3 to around 6 months worth of your new country's living costs. So if you're looking at around £1,000 a month somewhere like Colombia or Ecuador, aim for 3 to 5,000 in the bank. That's your cushion. That's your I can breathe while I figure things out fund. Now how to get there if you're already skint? Cut the expenses, and I mean properly, cancel the subscriptions you don't use. Stop buying meal deals when you could make a sandwich. Sounds boring and obvious, I know, but it really works. Every tenner you don't spend is a tenner closer to finally getting out. Think of it like this. Would you rather have Netflix for another 3 months, or would you rather be sat on a balcony in a beautiful place with a beer that costs less than £1? And if you're really struggling to save, consider picking up some side work, remote freelancing, weekend shifts, selling stuff you don't really need anymore. It's temporary pain for long-term freedom. Step 2. Pick your destination and actually look into it. Do some proper, informative research. This is where most people get paralyzed. There are hundreds of countries out there and everyone's got an opinion. Your mate Dave went to Thailand and absolutely loved it. Your cousin's banging on about Portugal. Instagram influencers are all over Bali. It's all noise. Here's how to cut through it. Ask yourself 3 questions. 1. What's your budget? Be realistic about this. Some countries are super cheap, others less so. South America generally is quite affordable. Western Europe, not so much. 2. What's the visa situation? Some countries let you stay for up to 90 days and others up to 6 months. Some have digital nomad visas that make it really easy. Check out gov.uk for some visa requirements for any countries which you're interested in. It's actually very straightforward and there's a lot of good basic information there. 3. What do you actually want? Are you after beaches or mountains? Big city energy or small town calm? Year-round sun or somewhere with seasons? Do you want to learn Spanish or another language? Or would you rather go somewhere English is more commonly used? Once you've got some rough answers, narrow it down to 2 or 3 places. Then do some homework. YouTube's a great start here. Search for cost of living in that particular city, or maybe something like expat life in whichever country you're considering. Join Facebook groups for expats in those countries. Ask a couple questions. People love sharing their experiences, especially if you're genuinely curious and not just moaning. And here's a pro tip. Don't just watch the polished travel vlogs. Look for the messy, real, down-to-earth, honest stuff. The the person who's been there 2 years and talks about the frustrations as well as the highlights. Step 3. Sort your essentials before you head off. So you've got some cash saved, you know roughly where you're headed. Now it's time to tick off the boring but necessary boxes. Passport. Check the expiry date. Most countries want at least 6 months left on it before you arrive. If yours is running low, renew it now. Don't wait until 2 weeks before you leave and then panic when it takes a month to arrive. Bank and money. If you're planning to leave the UK for 1, 2 or maybe even up to 5 years, you should consider telling your bank. The last thing you want is if your card gets blocked the second you try to use it abroad, assuming it's fraud. Also look into getting a travel-friendly bank account with some debit cards. Revolut, Wise, Monzo, these are great for avoiding those foreign transaction fees. You don't want to be losing a fiver every time you withdraw cash. And of course you can also set up a local bank in the country where you're living. That's another option, and it's always good to be spending in the local currency using that same debit card. Your phone. Either get an international plan or just buy a local SIM card when you arrive. You can buy one at the airport or in most shopping centres. Don't be that person paying £10 a megabyte because they forgot to sort their phone out. Travel insurance. Should I get it? I know it feels like another expense you don't really need, but what happens if you get seriously ill, injured, or even robbed? You'll be thanking yourself later. You know, anything can happen when you're abroad, and that will give you some peace of mind. And definitely some accommodation for the first week or two. It doesn't have to be luxurious, an Airbnb, a hostel, or whatever you prefer. Just somewhere you can dump your bags and catch your breath while you figure out the next move. Don't arrive with no plan and expect it to magically work itself out. It might, but why take the risk? Step 4. Decide what you're doing with your life back home. This is the bit that makes people freeze. What about my flat, my job, my stuff? Let's tackle it one at a time. Your job. If you're planning to work remotely, talk to your employer first if you can. Some are cool with it and others aren't. If they're not, or if you can't work remotely, you'll need to quit. Scary, I know, but also liberating. Give proper notice and leave on good terms. You never know when you might need a reference or even have to come back. If you don't have remote work lined up, think about freelancing, online gigs, maybe teaching English online, whatever. You don't need a fortune, just enough to top up your savings while you're abroad. Your flat. If you're renting, give notice. If you're a homeowner, rent it out or maybe even sell it. I know that sounds huge, but loads of people do it. You can always come back if things don't work out. Your stuff. This is weirdly emotional for most people. Here's the truth. You don't need most of it. Sell what you can, store what you must, and bin the rest. Take 2 bags max. You'll be amazed how little you actually need when you're not trying to fill a flat in a country that makes you miserable. Step 5. Just book the flight ticket. This is a big one. The point of no return that isn't actually a point of no return, but it kind of feels like it. You've done the prep, you've saved some cash, you picked your place, sorted your documents, figured out your job and flat situation. Now you just need to commit. Book a one-way ticket, or if that feels too intense, book a return for 3 or 6 months out. You can always change it, because until you've got that flight booked, it's just daydreaming. And when you do it, you'll feel a whole mix of things: excitement, terror, relief, and doubt. That's normal. We've all felt that. But I promise you this, the second that plane takes off and you're in the air, you'll feel something you maybe haven't felt in years: freedom. You'll feel like you've taken control of your life instead of just letting it happen to you, and that more than anything else is worth the leap. So there you go, 5 actual steps, not airy-fairy, inspirational nonsense, just the practical bits that will get you from "I wish I could leave" to "I'm actually doing this." It's not as hard as you think, it's just unfamiliar. But you know what's harder? Staying somewhere that's slowly draining the life out of you year after year, and telling yourself, maybe next year. Coming up in some of the next videos, I'll be breaking down the cost of living in Pacific countries with some real numbers. But for now, if you're serious about this, start with step 1. Open a spreadsheet, work out your costs, and start saving. Because the Britain you're stuck in right now It doesn't have to be your forever. If this video hit home, drop a comment below and tell us where you're watching from and what's keeping you in the UK right now. And thanks again for joining me on this walk the walk, because some of us already have.